Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the Sunny Shah Show. AI is everywhere. I'm sure it is an exciting buzzword that cannot be ignored. And when we look at India and how can AI transform India, this is our topic for today. And it is my pride and honor to introduce a guest who I coin as the emerging guru of AI in India. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Preet Deep Singh, our today's guest, is a distinctive leader who has excelled in the field of AI and beyond. Currently serving as the Vice President at Apna, had a stint with Invest India, and also trained Prime Minister's Office on AI. It is my pleasure to welcome you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be here, sir.
We're talking about a topic which is bread and butter, which is like very close to your heart. At the same time, a single most transformative technology that can change everything around us. And I wouldn't say that can change, it's already changing as we speak and as we talk. I want to know about putting our country first and your perspective as a thought leader and somebody who's leading by example in this space and the work that you've done in this space. Can you tell more about AI as an opportunity? Can you tell us more about how can AI transform India in multifaceted segments, whether it's consumers, whether it's industry, whether it's government, governance. But let's start by asking you this question. How do you think this opportunity of AI lies in ahead of us when we talk about nation building and when we talk about India?
Wonderful. So we've got a population of about 1.4 billion.
Correct.
And if you just look at the governance needs of 1.4 billion humans, they need roads, they need electricity, they need water, they need education, employment, skills, and the entire thing. And if you see the number of humans which can be employed by the government to provide this, there is an upper limit to it. There are budgetary constraints, there are seasonality constraints, there are many constraints to this. So AI now gives us an opportunity to make sure that every last person in the country gets access to those services. And while I'm saying this, I'm realizing this concept is not new for India.
Yeah.
If you look at our voting, our elections, we do an election which has about 900 million voters, something around that, which is just crazy. Like, as a number, if you see so many people deciding on who will my representative be, it's just crazy on that.
As they call it, the largest democracy on the world.
Yes. Our election results come in maybe after the last phase, maybe in another week or so. We have a voting booth in the remotest of places, right? If you have one citizen, you will have a voting booth in that region.
True.
But right now, when you see those videos that, there are 5 election officers carrying this machine along with some security who go there, create that entire thing. Even if there is an elderly person who has to vote from home, who can't walk up to the voting booth, they'll set it up at your place, wherever you are, and they'll let you do that, right? This involves humans physically traveling. Right?
True.
What AI is going to do is AI is going to again bring governance to your doorstep.
Okay.
On an ongoing basis without humans having to go through that excruciating journey to provide that, right? So think of, and I just love this example, think of in a small town in India, the district collector is the person who's mostly responsible for solving your problems.
Right? True.
या किसी को एक local bus stop पे bus नहीं मिल रही है, any sort of problem, these people will go to the district collector and say, I have so and so problem. Now this district collector is a human,
right?
In most cases, this person is going to be 30, 35 years of age. And this person has to listen to the problems of the entire district. It's humanly impossible. I don't know how we've been able to do it for so long, right? Now, one, there is a physical journey. Second, there is a human limitation on the collector's input bandwidth. And of course, state's delivery bandwidth will be impacted by how much this can be directed to the right person. Enter AI. If today I can get all these problems listed, and you have these tools existing today, you don't have to wait for the foreseeable future. You have these tools today. You can just keep a recording device. You come in, if I'm the collector, you tell me all your problems. I have a transcript being made already. The transcript is not just a dumb transcript, it can actually tag items and also give me suggested names on who can solve this.
Okay.
So as a collector, I can say, this is Department of Agriculture, this is Department of Transport, this is this. I take a quick glance, and I say okay, and it gets shot to everybody in that department. It gets added to my dashboard.
Right.
As soon as action keeps getting done on all of those, I have an updated to date dashboard that somebody can walk in and see what it is. So much so that I can actually enable push notifications to say, you had come to the collectorate on 13th of May, today 16th of May, this problem is now resolved. If not, please let us know.
So the efficiency multi-folds.
It's just mind-boggling what it can be done. And there is a district in J&K, I think it's the district of Samba in Jammu and Kashmir, where they're actually piloting this. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing.
Dr. Singh, you've done remarkable work in the space of AI. What encouraged you to get into this intersection, a unique intersection of AI and governance?
As much as I want to say I was smart with foresight, I was honestly just tinkering in the evenings with some tech. So one of the things that not many people understand is that before the ChatGPT 3.5 version came out in November 22, you had a lot of earlier models of GPT that weren't as accessible. Like this model, what was different was they just simply had an interface where you could say something and it will respond. Earlier, you could run through their APIs. They had a GitHub repository. So they had an Edison model. They had a Darwin model, 𝗪𝗏 model. So I knew a little bit about what is happening in the field at a broader level, just for tinkering around. So I had this fascination of creating a bot for people in Japan, are because they have a declining population birth rate. They have a lot more people who are old and end up being lonely. So I had tried to create this thing back in 2015, that how do we ensure that these people have somebody to talk to, right? And how are you talking to any of your relations when they are not in the same city? You're probably texting them through one or the other social media messaging app, which means if the person texting on the other side is a bot, you probably don't know as much, right? So even if I were to create a duplicate bot for myself, maybe a far off relative wouldn't understand as much, right? Because apart from some personal private details, everything else is very generic. It's about a few views. It's about asking them, did you eat?
Yeah.
It's about asking them what's happening in your life, giving them a comment or two, telling them a joke, giving a view on some weather or Indian cricket or any such thing, right? So that is where the tinkering started with, can a machine respond? And when the 3.5 version was launched, so I was with the government at that time, and government has much more work than anybody realizes, right? A lot of us think that government is going to be very easy, it's okay, thoda sa kaam aaya, then you have a long lunch break. Oh, life is very difficult in the government. At least in this administration, life is very difficult. The working hours are long,
right?
Because there is so much that we want to do that you need to fit it in your day somehow. Now, at one point I had work, and I had something that could help me with that. I think some random evening, I was like, why don't I ask this to do my work for this? And it worked okay. It wasn't like out of this world. It worked okay. But I realized this okay is very scalable. So I was, I think, part of the one district, one product team at that time. India has 760 plus districts. I think the number was 764 at that time. Right now it's about 786, 785. And we had at least one product from each district, right? So while I couldn't give a wonderful brief of every product, I could get a small brief of every product using ChatGPT, right? And because we had a real use case and we had something that could do it, we had to learn a bit. We had to understand, okay, this is a prompt. This is how you make the prompt better. This is what's coming to my liking. And so what we did was that it came out in November, I think December first week, just an internal team. I think we were about 15, 20 people in that team. And we just thought we'll all just get together, have our own stuff on a projector, and I'll just tell them what I learned. And I figured 2 or 3 more people in my team had learned. So word got out, and 2, 3 days later, HR comes up to me and says, you've done this training. We would want you to do this for the entire firm. Investing has about 450 strong. So I said, yeah, sure. But I don't know as much because I didn't realize that the little knowledge that I have is so much useful to people, right? So I said, okay, we'll do a half an hour session because there isn't as much that I can give. That session went on for an hour and a half because people had questions. They wanted to try out their things. People would love to say, okay, ask about our MD, ask about Modi ji, or what does ChatGPT say about him?
Yeah.
And ask about Hanuman ji, ask about Ramayana, ask about Gandhi ji, ask about everything that they care about. Ask about how the Indian team can win the next World Cup. This is before the World Cup we had done.
Sure.
And I think people just really liked it. A lot of people started using it. An advantage that I had at that point, and this is not about my ability at all, an advantage I had at that point was because people associated me with that first session, whenever they would find something interesting or a problem, they would highlight it to me. My repository of knowledge kept increasing through somebody else's actions. Whenever there was a problem, it was an amazing opportunity to learn. Okay, why is this not happening, right? Now, once that scaled up, we had a friend in Capacity Building Commission, 𝗪𝗵𝗶 who said, our team really wants to know what this is. Would you come? We can't give you a high honorarium. And I was like, in any case, I can't take an honorarium. I'm with the government. But I don't think I can tell you folks anything you don't know. He's just drop by. We have a weekly meeting, just drop by. And I think that was it. That was it. Because we figured that there is value for everybody in this. And because I had tinkered a little more, I think I was just there in the right place at the right time.
So what you're trying to tell me is, if I go a little more technical,
Yeah.
you accidentally built an LLM and then you started training the LLM and that actually became a
So
concept.
we didn't build as much as maybe tune it a little.
Tune it a little
Yeah.
bit.
So it was the existing APIs only, but we could just make it work for our use cases a little better. And I think it just picked up from there because it could solve a use case.
And where does that experiment stand today? Are they still using it exhaustively? It would have gone to a very matured stage now.
Yeah. So in fact, so much. So right now, for any field, you would need a lot more skill building, a lot more capacity building, right? Much more in the government, right? You want everybody in the government to be operating at a much, much higher level. How do you get content for, let's say, 10,000 subjects within a year? So one way, something that we recently experimented, one way of that is, can we, so think of a free trade agreement, right? So this is very hot right now. Many
Right.
countries, you need to do that, right? Now, how many people do you think existing, not retired, existing, have gone through an entire process of a free trade agreement in any country? Not just India, not just Pakistan, Indonesia, Bangladesh, China, Bhutan, USA, in the world. That number would be very low because there aren't as many. And a lot of people also retire. There's institutional memory that gets shifted. In the Westminster system, you get transferred. In the US system, there is a new set of people who come in, right?
Okay.
So you don't have as much, right? But you need this, right? Now US has to negotiate with so many countries. We have to negotiate with so many countries. How do we build that capacity? Can we get ChatGPT to give us like maybe a 50-page document? Can we supplement that from World Trade Organization? Can we supplement that from other government sources? Mix it all up, give it to a bot and say, create 3 courses on this, beginner, intermediate, expert. Give me a long script as well as LaTeX code for the presentation. LaTeX is just a typesetting software.
Okay.
Because it's code, it becomes easier for all these bots to work with. Directly presentation, if you ask for it, the outcome is okay.
Sure.
But if you ask for a LaTeX code, one, it's scalable. Second, it's 100% foolproof, right? So there's no formatting error that can even prop up, right? So it would give us a LaTeX document and a long script. You go to HeyGen or 11 Labs or any of these avatar, digital, audio, AI bots, just paste that, right? So what have I done till now? I have sourced 4 documents. I have asked it to generate a script and a deck. It has generated a deck. I have taken the script to HeyGen. HeyGen has created that entire thing with it. And all I have to do it now is combine these two and I have a course ready. It takes me less than 2 hours with less than 15-20 minutes of active effort.
Wow.
Because AI is working. So now I can create 3 courses on 5 subjects in an hour of active work. You get 5 people can do 15 in an hour. You get 8 hours, that's about 100 courses. In a week, you're at 500 courses, right? So you suddenly have increased your capacity exponentially just in the realm of building capacity, right? So right now it's at that sort of a maturity where we're trying to look at scalable solutions. We're trying to see how this can be done that works best for you. So I think those ideas have come out very well.
Dr. Singh, you have worked with the government of India, and getting into something so transformative as AI. From your experience, where do you think our government stands as you look at other governments in different parts of the world when it comes to our adaptability of new technologies like AI?
So that's actually a very good question. Across the world, any new tech has grown in a very particular environment. And I'll tell you the particular environment at the end of my answer. Industrial Revolution came in UK, Britain. They had those mills, textile and all that. Steam engine also, I think the Scottish James Watt had invented.
Yes.
And all that. Where are the world's largest car companies today? IC engines.
US.
US maybe a little bit in Japan. China is more on the EV side now.
Correct.
It's so strange that Britain did not win that war. It is basically Jaguar and Land Rover owned by Tatas.
True.
Saab is now closed. I
Morris
think
Garage is now acquired.
Exactly. So when a lot of economic historians looked at this, they realized that till 1896, and just to put 1896 in perspective, 1907 is when Henry Ford had the Ford on an assembly line. Okay, so उससे 15 साल पहले, 15 years before, Henry Ford had a factory of Ford. Till 1896, UK had a law called the Red Flag Act. Right?
What does that mean?
So the Red Flag Act said, if you have an automobile, right, or any vehicle, motor-propelled, self-propelling, many different names, if you have this vehicle, you will need a driver. Of course, everybody needs a driver. You will need a mechanic or a technician. If your car breaks down, you will need somebody. And you will need a person who will carry a red flag and run in front of the car. So this person carry a red flag or a lantern at night. Because रात को you can't see, right? So you'll need that. It's a good thing. Very good. It's very good for safety. It's wonderful. What does that do? As a car manufacturer, I am thinking I have to optimize till as fast as Suraj can run.
Absolutely.
Suraj being my runner. Right?
Correct.
And Suraj can probably run at 8 kilometers per hour. Not even for an hour that too, unless Suraj is like a heavy duty athlete. So my car speed is not going to be beyond 10 kilometers per hour. Right? Now at 10, you have practically put a ceiling on innovation. Because even if I have a car that goes 30, Suraj can't run at 30, so I can't run the car.
True.
Now, the US did not have any stifling laws. And they started creating this entire bit where a Ford could run up to 20, 30, 40 kilometers over time per hour. The AI regulations that EU has brought in, and this is my very personal opinion, right? I think they have done a very similar mistake where it's a very good thing that you're thinking of safety first. The problem, Sunny, in my opinion, is we don't know the extent of harm that this can cause and how. We don't know how far that car can go. Saying that anything that has this is a problem. And I'll give you an example on this. So if you look at, let's say, something very harmless, a harmless model. Let's say you subscribe to any music app, probably some music app you subscribe to, where you get stream music from, right? And that probably predicts which is the next song you want.
Absolutely.
Now that is very harmless, right? It should be in the lowest category of risk, right?
Yeah.
What if I told you, given person A's song history, I can determine whether they are a homosexual? Very possible, very real, very possible with today's tech.
So now you are infringing somebody's privacy.
You've infringed. Now, see, because you are thinking first world, you are thinking privacy. There are countries in the world where being a homosexual is punished by death.
Yeah, so it's a crime
now,
then.
Answer, is this AI model supposed to be high risk or low risk? I can't answer it.
Well, it's subjective, right?
Exactly,
it's
right?
Subjective.
Now, as soon as I start saying that you tell me what your model does, I will classify where it is, and then I will tell you what is applicable. It doesn't fit. This is evolving at such a fast pace. And even if you look at EU regulations right now, I think they came in 23, 24, and we are on 25. I think they are going to be enforced in 26 or something like that, like maybe later, a few months later. Do you realize how much tech has changed in these past 2 years? Do you realize how much finding deepfakes has changed? If, let's say, in the next 3 months, I have a breakthrough on identifying AI generated content, then a lot of the assumptions I was working with 2 years ago have gone for a toss. So stringent regulation, in my opinion, is right. I am so proud of the Indian stance that says we are going to make sure that AI is responsible. That if you are using AI, you have to tell me that this is AI generated. If I am using AI, the model has to say this is AI generated. It has to say it can make errors. It has to say this data, this is not 100% factual. You need to make your own checks.
Sure.
So basically, we're looking at some sort of an informed consent. And I think that is just amazing. In terms of promotion, I think it's wonderful. We have the India AI mission. There are 7 pillars under it. There's one on data. I think they've launched. It's called 𝗂𝗃. 𝗂𝗃 is just treasury or a repository of data where we'll have government data. Plus, we have opened it to anonymized private data. Let's say you're a ride operator, right? Any ride operator. You don't have to give names of people. but you can give me anonymized data on from where to where do people go at what time, paying what fare and what problems and what ratings. Whatever I need to build, if I have this repository of data, a data lake, a data bank, it's amazing, right? Then you're getting a fund, right? I think it's somewhat around 5,000 crores. I could be off by a few hundred crores, but it's about 5,000 crores. You've got a responsible AI office. You've got a national innovation center. You've got compute. So we had actually planned, I think, 10,000 GPUs. We ended up procuring 18,000 GPUs. And these are from the government to any startup, any ecosystem actor who wants to build something on it. Then there's one on application development. The first thing that we talked about, which is how does government use AI? So what the India AI mission would be doing is, can we identify some amazing scale problems and then solve them using AI? So the India AI mission is doing a lot of promotion in that. There's also a skills component to this. While you already have Future Skills Prime, specific AI-led capacity building in the domain of AI is a major component of that. Ministry of Education has launched 3 AI centers of excellence. You've got different departments working on their own AI implementation, AI use cases. So I think that is amazing. In the Biden administration, they had passed, I think, the longest executive order in presidential history, which was the AI executive order.
Okay.
I think it was called EO 95782, which said that every department has to implement AI. Every department has to make public all the use cases of AI. The Trump administration, I think just 2 weeks ago, they have passed a new executive order saying that we need to ensure AI level skilling in schools. I think China has also done skilling at the school level in some places. I'll probably just take China's example also. One of the things that China did, China came out with their AI regulations about 2 years back. One of the things it said was it has to be in consonance with Chinese values.
Okay.
Which is probably their goal, not just anybody's goal. But I'll tell you a problem. In an AI model, right? If you tweak the AI model to say 2 plus 2 is not 5, it is 4, the model starts misbehaving somewhere else, right? So right now, there are some subjects that DeepSeek will not answer. Now, if you have to keep fine-tuning DeepSeek to not answer, its performance might go down in other places. What are those other places? You don't know. It could be something completely unrelated to something else, right? It creates an inherent difficulty for any AI firm to develop something with constraints. The larger the contractual space available, the better the outcome, right? So I think India right now is doing a great job by ensuring that there is a safe space and you are clear on what are the boundaries, but you're not trying to draw a roadmap because we don't know how this is going to come about.
So you're trying to say, if I summarize this, you're trying to say that what the government of India is doing great about this AI adaptation is we're looking at it that we'll be responsible when it comes to our approach to AI, but will not block innovation.
Yes, completely. That is just so important. That is because, see, we have the power of numbers, right? What that means is if there are 5,000 people tinkering across 36 states and union territories, easily 100 of those people across 10 states and union territories will create something, right? We don't know ex ante what they'll create. If we have a regulation against it, then it will die. If we allow it to come, then maybe that's the next big thing that changes the face of the planet, maybe.
Very interesting. Let us pivot for a minute from your experience working with the government bodies to your current role. I'm very excited with this project itself. When I look at your organization and the platform that you are creating, you're trying to address a bottom line problem of India,
Yeah.
which is employment at scale. And one good thing that I like about your platform is you will be serving, or you started serving and you are expanding as we speak, to the underserved population, where anybody who is aiming of seeking employment, doesn't matter whether it's blue collar, white collar, tech, operational, doesn't matter. Anybody who wants to seek employment, the person doesn't need to know English, the person can be bilingual, multilingual. You have a platform that serves that person the opportunity that he or she deserves. How are you leveraging AI in this pursuit?
I'll probably have to get into a little bit more detail on this.
Sure.
let's say you want to hire office admin staff, right? I'll give you a regular process. Regular process is you have 10 CVs, you message those 10 people, 5 of them reply, you ask them to come, maybe 3 or 2 of them come for the interview, you give an offer to both, one or none of them join.
Sure.
Now, what is the gold standard in this? Gold standard is how do you invite a celebrity to an event? You have a big event, how do you invite a celebrity? You call their office, you say, okay, sir is coming, okay. On that one day before, you say, okay, reminder one, you are supposed to come tomorrow, everything on track.
Right.
You call them in the morning, okay, you are coming, okay, you are here, have you reached, right? Now, it's not humanly possible for you to do this, right? So, what AI does this? In the first example, you had to call those 10 people and figure out if they are a good fit. Fit check.
Correct.
And a fit check right now takes up a lot of time, right? For example, a day's productivity for somebody in talent acquisition right now will be maybe 30 calls. 30 is probably a big stretch, but maybe 30 calls. And why is it a problem? Because the call is actually 5-10 minutes and 300 minutes is 5 hours. The problem is, oh, you are not available. Oh, I am not available.
Back and forth.
Oh, I missed your call.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I. And this is not adding value, by the way. The fit check is a very basic filtering key. Oh, do you know this? This job is in 𝗂𝗪𝗃. Can you come here every day? It is a work from office job. This is the package. Is this okay?
I can resonate to what you're saying.
So you do this. What AI can do now is one, AI can treat the candidate as a celebrity and follow up with them whenever, on whatever frequency. Are you there? Are you going to reach? Are you not? Because the employer should not feel, arey, the candidate had to come but didn't turn up. Right. So there's this joke about Elon Musk. When they invited him to the Twitter board, the day he was supposed to join, he didn't join. So I think 𝗪𝗃 𝗪𝗃 was the CEO at that
Yes.
time, and somebody had tweeted or commented that Elon Musk joins the long list of tech hires who don't show up on the first day. Right? Now AI is solving that problem. Right? On the employer side, AI is going to do your fit check and tell you these are the 10 CVs that seem relevant. These are the 5 people who will come every day to your office. These are the 3 jinka salary is matching. These are the candidates who will come and will not come. So you are not left waiting, making calls and anything, right? So you hire faster. The candidate feels better. Candidate also feels serious about the entire thing, and it continues to add value for India to grow better.
Very interesting. Do you think jobs like recruitment, talent acquisition will be completely eliminated by AI?
I actually see a harder demand to hire more people. Yeah. So
Which is the other way around.
Yeah. We've started experimenting with this interview bot, and the interview bot is of course free of cost. So everything that we do is free of cost for the candidate. So candidate, we don't charge a single penny for anything whatsoever. So we've got the fit check bot. Now what's happening with the fit check bot is we are able to map out an entire section much faster, which makes it much more relevant for my recruiters to actually make those calls and reach better outcomes. So it's actually increased my need, but my job profile has changed. So my TA, talent acquisition, the let's say entry level person who was supposed to do the fit check is now actually asking them more technical, more operational questions, asking them more, will you be a good cultural fit? So my job profile is elevated. My demand has increased. It's not very intuitive, right? It's a lot more ATMs would mean less jobs for the banking people, right? Less jobs for bank tellers. But if you see, ATMs actually created access to banking for a lot more people who were comfortable having their money in a place where they could withdraw it over weekends, after 8 p.m., before 9 a.m. in case of an emergency. So banks had more money, so they opened more branches, so they needed more tellers. It's not intuitive, I understand, but we are seeing it right now happening with us. We've had to increase. We are actually hiring a lot more now than we would have if we did not have AI-based interviewees, AI-based tools for us.
Because the transactions have amplified because of AI.
Yes.
That's very interesting. AI-ready policy environment. What's your take on this?
I think minimal policy is the AI-ready policy environment. Like, we should not try to do anything. We don't know where it is. And I'll give you this is a side anecdote. So Henry Kissinger, amazing guy on statecraft and everything, he said, how do you regulate a sniper? He has a gun, so you can hide the gun to an extent.
Right.
He can shoot a set of people, but maybe single digit or double digit number of people at a time. A sniper can travel undetected. There is a train. A train can be used to move soldiers. It can be used to move civilians, increase trade. Whenever a train moves, you can actually see. Right?
Yeah.
A train can't hide, but it has potential both sides, on damage also and on transferring doctors also. Right? Third, you have nuclear material. A nuclear material can actually create a lot of power for the population. It can also create a nuclear warhead, right? But it is easy to detect. There is a nuclear signature. Transfer is also easily detectable, right? Now in AI, and he says this is not my thought, he says the problem with AI is AI has potential to cause harm, large harm, similar to how a train does. AI has potential to go undetected like a sniper. And whenever AI is moving, you can't see it, right? Right now, you can download a llama model on your laptop and go off the grid. And you will have access to a very next to, I would say, state of the art AI with you on your machine with no internet connection. So you could be off the grid, having access to intelligence which cannot be traced back to you. How do you regulate this? It's very hard. It's very hard, right?
Yeah.
The other example that I give people is if a child were to use a knife that is just lying around the house and throws it out of the balcony without looking, it hits somebody and causes an injury. Who is responsible? It's just a very hard question. It's a very hard question. Is the child responsible? Is the child's parent responsible? Is the knife company responsible? Is the person who was walking there responsible? Similarly, in an AI scenario, if you were to ask AI for maladvice, bad advice, who is responsible? So there was this attack in the US where somebody drove a Tesla Cybertruck into a hotel and blew it up and everything, right? So there were police reports, I don't know if it's confirmed or not, there were police reports that said this person asked ChatGPT to plan out this event for them. There are two ways to look at it. The first way is AI did enable it to an extent then, right? The counter being this person would have otherwise Googled. So if Google is not being held responsible, then why is ChatGPT being held responsible? If this person had used an Excel sheet, would you then hold Microsoft responsible? Because that is also a tool, right? The counter is, I think the casualty number for that was very, I think, minuscule. I think maybe nobody died, some people were injured. So the counter argument was maybe ChatGPT did a great thing by giving him bad advice on an attack to save lives.
Yep.
Who is responsible, and are you responsible for a good thing or a bad thing? It's just so hard to determine accountability, at least right now, that a minimal policy environment is the best, most conducive policy environment for AI, in my opinion.
How do you think India plays there?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So India is regulating harm, not the model.
Okay.
So if I use AI and I deceive you, maybe I'm doing a scam, maybe I'm the voice cloning scam that's happening where somebody from my family says, oh, I'm stuck here or whatever. I use AI, I cause you harm. I am responsible for causing the harm, right? The AI company is not responsible, right? If I were to use AI and do something that defrauds people and I'm unduly enriched because of that, I will be held responsible, not this, right? So the harm is being regulated rather than the means to the harm. So you don't really implicate a Mercedes in case of an accident. You implicate the driver who's there, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is a wonderful approach, at least as far as we know how AI is behaving right now.
Great technologies bring in greater opportunities, greater challenges, greater risks. You briefly touched upon the risk aspect of it in a couple of examples that you just gave me. But when you look at India, and we are at an intersection of AI, which I firmly believe that since the industrial revolution, this is probably one of the most revolutionary things that's happening to the humankind. When India looks at AI, and when I say India, I'm looking at broader country and countrymen, not just the government of India, what are the major challenges that you see as an expert in this field, and what are the greater opportunities that you see beyond those challenges?
So I think a challenge, and not just for India, globally, in fact, India doesn't face this as much, is there is a set of people in the world who are not yet digital.
Okay.
Somebody who's not digital will now not be AI. So you then have two rivers to cross for them. As India, I think a challenge or an opportunity, actually both, is how do we take the global south along, right? Because we are de facto the leaders of the global south, right? How do we take the global south along to take the brothers and sisters who are not internet ready right now, who don't have internet penetration, to make sure they also come with us on this journey, right? We need to really build skill, right? So I like to give this example that many years ago you had a computer system coming in, and probably people who were at that time 35, 40 chose one of two. They chose the computer system or they chose the 𝗪𝗀 system. Both of them are today in a very different life.
Correct.
Right? I think we stand at a very similar point where we need to know that AI is going to make things better. There are 2, 3 other risks that I definitely foresee. One is environment, right? AI is causing a lot of demand on the environment, right? Electricity needs are off the roof. You have global warming that will accelerate. While India has done great on the whole Paris climate change thing, but I think AI is a challenge there, right? You have deepfakes as a challenge, right? Thankfully, elections went well, but propaganda, deep fake news, these things will be a challenge. AI also hallucinates, right? We need to know that accountability will remain with us. We need to not trust AI without due diligence. There is this, I usually give this example that the West doesn't understand that we don't think of AI as a challenge for our examinations. The examinations in the West are take home assignments. Our examinations are proctored, right? You always have an invigilator, it is a do it there exam, right? So that is not as big a problem. Anthropomorphism is a big problem. Despite telling people that this is a machine that you're talking to, they can't help but fall in love with it. And it's a bigger problem for India because we have a very well-knit society, right? We all have friends, we all have relatives, we like, we don't like, but we spend time with them. We all have our families. We're a very family-first thing. We think of the entire world as our family. So we are very socially well-knit, right? Now, if you add anthropomorphism, if you add an AI friend to it, it becomes very hard to beat that for a human. Your human friend will have their own needs.
Right.
Your human friend will have their own schedule. Your human friend will have their own shortcomings also.
And AI on the other side is always at your disposal.
Always at your disposal. AI will never say, I need you to come with me. So all your Saturdays you can play golf. Right? And AI will never ditch you. Your friend will. We are humans, we ditch each other. Out of hobby, out of habit, out of whatever. We do that. AI is always available. So that is actually a long-term risk that we foresee.
Let's lighten up a little bit now. Your journey is an intersection of tech and policy making. What was an accidental encounter or a learning as you leveraged AI throughout this journey? Anything that comes to your mind?
I have to think about it. An accidental encounter in the tech and policy journey. I think assumptions.
Okay.
So you meet a few people and you always assume that this person will already know, right? But when you sometimes hear questions, you realize that you were operating at a very different plane, right? Of course, the opposite also happens a lot of times. But I remember this one time we were in this meeting and somebody said, so it was a slightly more tech oriented fancy meeting. And somebody said, we're going to create a data lake and it will be there. And this one person actually asked, will this lake cause any environmental damage? And we were thinking, okay, are they talking about like cloud environment? We realized they thought it was an actual lake.
Okay.
Right? So somebody else asked me in a meeting, what is the difference between a GPU and a CPU? So I figured that the education level, the knowledge on this will be lower education level. So I said a GPU is just a stronger CPU. What a CPU can do in X time, a GPU can do in 1/10x time. Now I realized that this dumbed down definition was not good because the next thing they said was, if I then give it 10x time, then my CPU should be enough to run this, right? And I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't work like that. Because this person is thinking, I've had this setup for 3 years. So 3 years by 10 is whatever, 4 or 5 months. So what you will do in 4 or 5 months should already be there with me. I'm like, oh, no, it doesn't. So I think the fact that, I don't know who had said that, somebody said that the biggest fallacy of communication is the assumption that it has taken place, right? I think those accidents really opened my eyes to understanding how people consume information, understand deeply what I am trying to articulate, and not make an assumption. on either side of somebody's knowledge.
थोड़ा common man का बात कर लेते हैं. So I personally had a first-hand experience. Well, I've been using AI in its naive form over the last 5-7 years. However, I went into becoming a serious user back in the times when the first ChatGPT instance came out. And I think that is where most of our friends get their hands dirty and they started exploring it. And then I would say myself as a serious AI user now, where I can't live without it. And if you look around you, right, AI is enhancing some mundane task, helping create better content, maybe replacing your child's homework, the way they follow that, maybe replacing search engines to a certain larger extent, where people now ChatGPT thinks that's the new keyword, right, rather than Google thinks. And that's been the ground level interception of AI. From an industrial technology array, there have been a lot of customized adaptations that you would have seen, which are subject to those industries and which are boosting productivity, reducing costs, or a combination of both. Fast forwarding ourselves 5 years from now, what do you think would be those real case adaptation that a commoner like us would be able to enjoy and leverage through AI? Any such examples, any such futuristic thoughts that comes to your mind?
So I would wish that this is the future, but it's very present. But I'll give you 2-3 things that work for me. I have an Apple device.
Okay.
It captures. I have an Apple Watch also, so it captures my sleep, my steps, fitness, and I think every phone now does. Android also has Google Fitness or something like that. I am turning old, and how do I know I'm turning old? Because I have unexplained aches. I wake up and I'm like, there's something in the back. There's something on my foot, and most of us we probably just let it be, right? So one day I decided that I am going to upload all my health data onto one of these bots. So one of the features that these bots have is you can have projects. So a project is a long-standing context for different conversations, right? So what I did was I uploaded it on a project saying that this is how my heart rate has been, this is my fitness, this is my workout, this is my VO2, and all that. This is how my sleep is going. I have a pain in my elbow, and this is a legit thing. I actually had a pain in my elbow, and I'm like, why do I have this pain?
Yeah.
And this is of course say it nicely that you're a master diagnostician, and ask me questions, and I want to find out and this and that, right? And it asked me a set of questions. So it told me this is probably the problem. Why don't you try out this for 2 days and tell me if it gets better?
Diagnostic.
Yeah.
Diagnostic. How accurate was this?
So it actually got better.
Oh wow.
So it actually did get better, and I realized that maybe I've been putting my elbow onto some hard surfaces and putting in some weight, because of which there's some, I think it's like a water bubble or air bubble. It's like a cushion, water cushion on your elbow that sometimes gets punctured and needs some love, care, and repair. It worked out, right? Now I have anything, a muscle soreness, a toothache, I can't sleep, I'm feeling anxious, whatever that might be, right? It's all onto this, and it gives me a decent, accurate thing, right? I'm very used to writing a journal, right? So I just upload that, and it has an idea. It says maybe this is happening. Maybe you could maybe spend time more with your wife. Maybe you need to spend time with your mom and dad. How about playing some golf? How about doing this? It does a great job. In fact, on this note, there's this really good use case a friend of mine shared. I'm forgetting the technical term, but I think it's called a ticking jaw or something like that. Especially with boxers or people who've done boxing or any sort of contact sport. When they open their jaw, there is a ticking sound. There is a clicking sound that comes in. And a lot of doctors were probably not able to diagnose it. So this one kid, I think this kid is from 𝗪𝗏, right? 𝗪𝗏. So he actually just was talking to ChatGPT and said, whenever I open my mouth, I have this clicking sound that comes in. And so ChatGPT then what is your general health like, what age, gender, location, all that. And ChatGPT says, it looks like this, but let's find out. So it says, why don't you put your tongue up and then open your mouth slowly, do this thrice and see if this goes away. It actually went away. So this person is now saying that it wasn't a lot of pain, but it was a lot of inconvenience. It was a lot of question marks in my head. What is this? What is happening? Can I make it better? Is this some undiagnosed disease or what? And it actually helped, right? You have access to the world's best diagnostician now. And I come from a middle class family. You go to a doctor when you have short fever for 2 days.
Yeah.
When you have to get better in a day after a cold or something like that. When you have a cough that is not going away but you need to speak. or something very serious. So for a smaller thing, we don't go to a doctor. Even if there is a doctor in the family, we don't bother them with it, right? Now you don't need to think of another human who has to be bothered, right? You can actually ask ChatGPT a basic thing and at least feel calm. I don't know if there used to be this website, no matter what headache, hand ache, whatever you go, the end would always be might be fatal.
Yeah.
So I think this one's much better. It doesn't give you all these things. For a lot of cases, it actually told me this seems to be okay. If these 3 symptoms get worse, go to a doctor. So I think mental health, physical health is doing a great job already, right?
So AI, so first point, I
Yeah.
mean, healthcare
Yeah.
is going to transform the way we diagnose things, maybe prescribe
Yes.
to a certain extent, and maybe preventive care
Yes.
could be another area when AI can play a key role in addressing those things.
Definitely. Another use case, and this is more common. You get your blood test report done, it's very cheap, right?
Yeah.
You get a blood test report, just upload the report.
Yeah.
Just upload the report and say, this is my report. Give me a very lengthy briefing or lengthy detail on what is right, what is wrong, what can I do better, and what things I should watch out for. It does an amazing job. It
Right.
does an amazing job. So a doctor would also do this, right? We have, at least I have so many questions and I sometimes feel embarrassed. Maybe I should not ask the doctor this. Can I play football after this? Should I do this in the morning? There are so many things that you keep getting you're not sure of. I think AI is just amazing at that. It's polite, it's there, it's not judging you. Even if it does, how does it matter, right? You can just get so much information processed with that. It's great. It's just great.
Very interesting. One personal aspect of yours that I missed asking earlier, and I don't want to let you go without asking. You've been recognized amongst the top 100 AI professionals. Tell us more about it.
I wish I knew. I think I was just continuing to do the entire training bit. And this random day, I get a call that we want to interview you and want to just understand. I do a fair bit of speaking slots. I do a fair bit
Sure.
of this. So I didn't think much of it. So they did that and they asked me a set of questions. They asked me my views on a few things. They went deeper into what are the sort of things that I'm doing. For a moment, I thought this was some job company that tried to interview me or something.
So they were anonymous. They didn't tell you why they are doing it.
No, they just directly
Okay.
said that, this organization and we work in this domain. And as a subject matter expert, we just want to speak to you. And see, I come from the startup ecosystem. And one of the rules in the startup ecosystem was you have to give back, right? If you've made some money, please give back to 10 people so that others can make money. That's the only way any ecosystem grows. You see our Tamil Nadu ecosystem, Zoho was the banyan tree around which
Yes.
the forest grew. You go to Silicon Valley, you know that if you are trying to build something, no money, no pedigree, nothing, if you reach out to 5 founders, 3 of them will give you time. Any ecosystem, any good ecosystem. I come from IMA. The IMA ecosystem is such. I reach out to any senior, any batch. I say, I am from IMA. I need this help. Can you spend 30 minutes? Even if it is in the middle of the night, they will call me and even if they are free in the middle of the night, timing will be a problem, but they will give back. So I come from that ecosystem, and I strongly feel the AI ecosystem in any place will only grow if you give back. So in my opinion, I was just supporting somebody and doing that. So they asked for views in this. So I said, are you trying to start up something? Maybe I can give you more specific advice because right now the questions are very generic. They might not apply to you. They're like, no, I think this is very good. And I think 2 months later, I don't even remember the chain of events. 2 months later, I get an email saying that you are now part of this AI 100. Do you consent to this? And I'm like, okay, can you tell me who are the other people from India? So the other people from India, sir, there was this lady who worked in the election commission, and it was, I think, Shri Amandeep Singh Gill. So Amandeep Singh Gill is the US Special Envoy on AI. This is the first office the UN has created in, I don't know, 2 decades. And he's now leading AI for the UN. Honestly, I thought I didn't deserve to be there. I haven't done anything to be in such worthy company. And I probably would be just very happy to be on the list with them. That's what I said. I said, if these are the other people on the list, I am very happy. Thank you so much. I don't deserve it. So if there is a typo or something that you've reached out to the wrong person, I'm totally fine. They're like, no, we really think and this and that. I'm like, sure. And then I joined a few fellowships and I work with them once in a while, just sharing whatever I can. It's a wonderful feeling. I wouldn't lie about it. It's a great feeling. I don't think I am the most worthy person in the country for this at all by a very large margin. But since it's here, it opens a few doors. It allows for interesting conversation. The other people on the list are also really wonderful. It's actually a global list. So it's the lady who led NIST, somebody who led the UK AI Safety Institute, There was this person from Italy who was working in, I think it's called province. Italy has provinces and districts. So provincial level AI adoption across many provinces. I got so much to learn from these people.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
much to learn.
So you have a community now that.
Yeah. It was just amazing. It was just amazing.
I think, first of all, congratulations. This is, as a fellow Indian, this is a great pride for all of us, having you recognized on a global AI front page. But at the same time, I do feel you are being modest, because over the last hour or so, while we are talking, I could see you radiating AI. If for a lack of better word, right? I can see you are AI everywhere. And I think that passion that you carry for this subject and the ground level contribution of you, obviously people who've been around you, is going to transform India for good. And I do hope and pray that the optimization, that you carry for India, and the opportunity that you see for all of us as we leverage this amazing technology, becomes a reality in near future. Dr. Singh, with that, we would like to conclude today's show, but thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Sunny. Thank
I
you.
got to learn so much about AI and how India is leveraging and how we are gearing, and it's a very satisfying feeling to know from somebody as learned as you are on this subject that we are actually leading from the front, and not trying to catch up. So that's a great thought that I would like to leave our viewers with. So, ladies and gentlemen, while AI can do a lot of great things, what it cannot do is click on the subscribe button down there. So I would like you to still do that while people like Dr. Singh figure out a way to automate that. But I'm sure you would have enjoyed this experience as you learn through what Dr. Singh had to say about AI and how it's transforming the India that we know and the India is going to be in future. With that, we come to the end of this episode. Please share this if you found it to be informative, so that others can learn from Dr. Singh and his insights. And please continue to subscribe and follow us to get more such meaningful conversations in your screen. It's me signing off. Thank you so much. Thanks.